always say every time I'm presenting, every time I'm presenting. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I asked you guys over on TikTok. I wanted to do a series called Know Your Nikkah-nama, where I basically detail the entire contract. So you're either here from TikTok or maybe you just found this video. Either way, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this video helps you. I hope that you learn something. I hope that you share it with all other women and men that you know who are looking to get married under Sharia law. My name is Marium. Who am I at this point? Hi, my name is Mariam. I love makeup. I say men are trash as if it's a personality trait at this point. This is a safe space for women of color to learn and grow and educate themselves about their rights and to basically become independent thinkers. And I teach women how to be selfish. Let's be real. Please subscribe if you're into any of those things. If you're into whether it's beauty, whether it's activism, whether it's learning a bit about business, and let me know what you guys want to see in terms of more YouTube videos and content. Alright, so let's get into it. I will leave all helpful articles down below, and I highly recommend that you check them out and you give them a read before jumping to any conclusions, and always consult reliable scholars or muftis or matters concerning your religion. But not just that, these are matter like the Nikkah-nama, it literally concerns your entire life. If you are going to be signing it, and educate yourself as much as you can, educate those around you. Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer by any means. I'm not like a religious authority either by any means. This is just me, an average Muslim woman, trying to help other Muslim women with the knowledge that she has. Very few women know about this, and I address this in my TikTok. So the Nikkah-nama is essentially meant to be a written document for two people entering a civil union. When you have a civil union, there not only does the Nikkah-nama act as legal evidence, but also it outlines the rights and obligations for the parties involved. This is a very crucial blueprint to what your married life could look like, potentially. Unfortunately, women are not educated about it at the time of signing. I want to say every woman I know, including women from my own family, they had no idea about this when they were signing the Nikkah-nama. They didn't even know about the clauses. Nobody wrote anything in the clauses. They either cut them out or they leave them blank. The only thing that's really done is the contract is signed. Nobody, especially in countries such as Pakistan, don't even get me started. The Nikkah-nama is not even like the tip of the iceberg at this point. I really hope this video reaches as many women as it can. I will be using Pakistan's legislation as reference because I'm Pakistani, plus it's a Muslim country. I know that most of you must be from the West, like America and UK or Australia. Those aren't Muslim countries. There are a lot of Muslims there, but those aren't Muslim countries. There might be a few differences, obviously, depending on like which country, which Islamic court or specific fiqh you follow. Be mindful of that. And this is just for guidance. This entire video, everything that I'm gonna say, it's for reference and for guidance. Always do your own research. So clauses 1 till 12, I believe, are basically just the name, the date, the age, the addresses of everybody involved. So you have the bride, the bridegroom, the witnesses, and the attorney. Clause number 6 is actually very crucial because this is where you mention the date of birth and the age of the bride. This is important for countries, for example, Pakistan, where child marriages are very rampant. So this is not something that should be skipped over or taken lightly. So in Pakistan, according to the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929, both males and females should be of 18 years of age if they are getting married. So clauses 13 to 16 are about Mehr. Mehr is an obligatory gift given from the guy to the girl in consideration of their marriage to honor the woman, basically. So initially what used to happen was when women got married, and even to this day, the reverse happens. And this is a concept that I don't know if you must be familiar with, because I've noticed that people in the West don't really know about this, like Muslims in the West, but in Pakistan, even this is such a common practice. We call it Jahez, which is when the girl basically gives money, property, cars, clothes, furniture, anything that the guy side of the family asks. And it's a very, very, very common practice. In fact, people don't get married because they're busy accumulating Jahez in order to get married. Girls get rejected if the Jahez isn't enough. Girls get, a lot of things like acid and death and harassment. A lot of things happen if you don't have enough Jahez. So to reverse this, the idea of Mehr was actually not brought in, but revealed in Islam, where because the guy is marrying a girl, essentially, he should be honored and he should be the one giving gifts to the girl and to the girl's side of the family. So Mehr is simply a command from Allah that you must follow as a guy if you are serious about marriage, and your entire attitude towards the fact that this woman is literally agreeing to be your wife. How grateful are you? How dedicated are you? How serious are you about this relationship? The Mehr also kind of provides a safeguard for women, because we all know this world is incredibly cruel and unjust to women. In general, even if it's a woman who works and who earns her own money, this world will never treat women fairly the way they treat men. In case things go south, Mehr can actually help. And it's basically a gesture of honor and respect and safety for women. The Mehr is every woman's unsaid right, and it's supposed to help her financially in situations, for example, death and divorce. So clause number 13 states the amount of Mehr. Clause number 14, how much dowry paid and how much deferred. Clause number 14 differentiates between the amount of Mehr Muajjal and the amount of Mehr Muwajjal. 15, whether any portion of the dowry guarantee was paid at the time of marriage, if so, how much. And number 16 is whether any property was given in lieu of the whole or any part of the guarantee amount with specification of the same and its valuation agreed to between the parties. There are two kinds of Mehr, you can tell by reading the clauses. So Muajjal is to be given before consummation of the marriage or at the time of the Nikah. The second type, which is Muwajjal, is the deferred amount of dowry to be paid at a said later date or whenever the wife demands it. So there are two types. The full amount of the Mehr can be divided into two only if both parties are in agreement. So essentially, you can't do anything unless both parties agree. You can't do anything without first asking the wife or taking her consent. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the Mehr. Basically, it's your right. Nobody is allowed to pressure you. Nobody is allowed to take it away from you or to tell you how much it should be, how much it shouldn't be. You are allowed to set any amount. And I know people hesitate from that statement because they're like, well, it shouldn't be an unreasonable amount. Let me just put an opinion in here and say women aren't the gender that are unreasonable. Obviously, when women think of Mehr, it's not like they just are gonna write down whatever comes to mind. It's a very serious decision, and most of the time women are influenced by external opinions and external factors, which is unfortunate because you should be the one deciding it. So a lot of times things such as family tradition or traits of the particular woman getting married, such as her social status, her physical appearance, how educated she is, her financial background, all these things kind of influence the amount of Mehr. So for example, if you are marrying a rich woman, you can't expect her to ask for like $10 in her Mehr. Why are you marrying her? Marry someone else, honestly. It is completely yours. Nobody is entitled to it. Not even your own family members, your blood relatives, nobody. It's completely the woman's right. The reason I'm emphasizing this so much is because we've always been told, well, yeah, but you should consult your elders, or you should consult your family members, you should consult the groom side, blah, 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 blah. We get it. Those are the things that women have already been brainwashed to do. This is me telling you that yes, all of that is right in its own way. However, you need to understand that you have rights. You are an independent individual who deserves to have full autonomy over your life choices. So yes, your family, your elders, their opinions do matter and they're very important. You should take them into consideration. That does not mean that anybody gets to tell you how to live your life, gets to dictate, force, or pressurize you into changing your opinions, changing your decisions. Regardless of which kind of meher, the groom is encouraged to pay the meher as soon as possible and in full to avoid future confusion. Showing enthusiasm and dedication and respect is basically why meher was even introduced. And if you are going to be completely disrespectful, lack enthusiasm, and constantly criticize the concept and ideology of meher and as to why women demand so much, or why can't men have a say in it, or you can't ask for whatever you want, you should consider the guy's side of the family, that basically shows that you're not in it for the right reasons and that you don't understand why the meher was actually introduced to begin with. The wife also has the right to take this matter to court in case her meher isn't paid. In case the bride's meher isn't paid at the time of the divorce, she can claim the gold given to her by the groom of equal value. Clause number 17 is beyond crucial. Let me just read it out for you. Clause number 17 says, special conditions, if any. This section, you can include anything that you want to, as long as it's nothing that goes against the law of the land or Sharia law. So for example, you can ask for the right to work after marriage, a monthly allowance if you want, a separate house if you want money for breastfeeding the guy's kids. It can even include a breakdown of the household chores, so who you want doing which particular task. If you want somebody to help you with looking after your kids, you can include all of that in clause number 17, as long as it's nothing illegal or goes against the Sharia law. Clause number 18 and 19 are literally the most important clauses in this entire document. Let me read them out. Whether the husband has delegated the power of divorce to the wife, if so, under what conditions? Whether the husband's right of divorce in any way curtailed. This is the clause that's often struck out by Maulvis and elders of the family. This gives the girl the legal right to file for a divorce. If this section is struck out, it often leaves women at the doorsteps of khula, where the woman does not need her husband's consent and has to forego her meher and alimony as a result. With the right to divorce, a woman goes through the same legal procedures as any man in court. While being fully in charge of her meher, it also takes lesser time and it's a more streamlined process. The khula is conditional and it's not the same thing as a right to divorce. Khula is when a woman initiates dissolution of the marriage in court, which she can do even without her husband's consent provided. She forgoes her meher, maintenance, and alimony. The judge basically decides if you will be granted the khula or not. However, when you are delegated the right to divorce, as stated in clause 18 and 19, you can simply opt out of the marriage using the same legal procedures as are followed by men. The reason people cross this section out at the time of marriage is because of cultural reasons. It's obviously seen as something negative, considering that at the time of the start of this marriage, why would you want to be thinking of ending things? Not to mention, they usually just assume that the woman will always have khula to rely on if things do go south. Generally, these clauses are looked down upon, which is why they're so ignored and forgotten. With this particular clause, if the woman has the right to divorce, instead of a khula, you write up a divorce deed, present it to the union council and your spouse. And if all attempts of reconciliation fail, then you are issued a divorce certificate within 3 months. This is so crucial because through this, not only does the entire process of divorcing your husband become so much easier, but you get to keep your meher. I will include a quotation from Sabahat Rizvi. Some Maulvis have even refused to officiate the nikah if these sections are crossed out. The process of obtaining a khula is a painful one and women are exploited like you wouldn't believe. If women were just given the right to divorce to begin with, we could avoid all the ugliness. Clauses 20. Whether any document was drawn up at the time of marriage relating to the marriage guarantee amount and maintenance, etc. If so, contents thereof. 21. Whether the bridegroom has any existing wife, and if so, whether he has secured the permission of Arbitration Council under the Muslim Family Ordinance 1961 Act to contact another marriage. And 22. Number and date of the communication conveying to the bridegroom the permission of the Arbitration Council to contact another marriage. Clause 20 states the groom's financial standing in terms of documents. The bride can ask for a monthly allowance and ask for its continuation even after the dissolution dissolution of their marriage, and the groom has to abide by it. Many couples determine a monetary allowance which the husband must give the wife every month, thereby further securing her financially. Interestingly, the wife may challenge this amount in court even years after the nikah. Keeping inflation and her growing needs in mind, at times couples have gone as far as to include that the husband will continue to pay the wife her monthly compensation even in case of a separation or divorce. So this clause is basically in terms of maintenance and monthly allowance or any money that she may need regardless of whether the marriage is still going or whether it's dissolved. Section 21 verifies the groom's marital status. This is where the groom must state that he has his first wife's permission for second marriage if that is the case. This is the clause where the bride can restrict her husband from taking another wife as long as they're married. Clause 21 includes the restriction on the man's right to contract further marriages while still married to his first wife. The clauses state that if a man is already married, then under the Muslim Family Ordinance law, he must present proof to the Union Council that he has obtained permission from his existing wives to marry another woman. That being said, even if it is discovered that the first wife had not given her blessing, the second marriage will not be invalidated. So essentially, this is where you state if you have any previous wives and if you have taken their consent. This is also where you can state that you don't want your husband to take another wife. However, if you are marrying somebody who has other wives and they have not consented, your marriage to him is still valid. You can, however, use this as a proof to obtain a khula or a divorce. If the husband has contracted a second marriage without going through the formalities, it is a criminal offense and is punishable by jail time as well as a fine. So this is where you discuss any previous marriages, if you have their consent or not, or you discuss any future marriages. So the remaining clauses from 22, 23, 24, 25, I'll put them up. They're basically just the signatures of the officials, the witnesses, the parties involved, contact information, etc., etc. So ignoring the fact that this is a completely separate day, we're going to continue. Okay. I quickly want to go over the grounds for dissolution of marriage as specified by Pakistani law, just to give you guys an example. So the absence of husband for 4 years, neglect or failure of husband to support his wife for 2 years, addition of a new wife in breach of the Nikkah-nama, imprisonment of husband for 7 years or more, failure of husband to perform marital obligations for 3 years. So marital obligations would include things such as providing food, water, clothing, of course, sexual obligations as well. Impotency, I don't know how to say it. Impotency. Wait, let me just Google how to say it really quickly.
Impotence.
American pronunciation. Impotency. Whatever, you get it. Of the husband from the time of marriage, insanity, leprosy, or contraction of a venereal disease lasting a period of 2 years or more, cruel treatment by the husband, marriage of a woman under 16 and her denial of the marriage before she is 18 provided that the marriage hasn't been consummated. I will link all the articles down below that I'm using, that I'm constantly reading off and using as reference. I highly recommend you go check it out. Also, the actual document, the Nikkah-nama, I will also be linking that down below. This one is by the Pakistani government, but it's translated into English. So I highly recommend that you see the contract for yourself. So what we learn from all this research is that the Nikkah-nama can do a lot, but it can only do so much. It is a legal document. You can use it as evidence. It does a very good job at laying down the foundations of a marriage, the rules, rights, and obligations. However, at the end of the day, it is going to have its limitations. I believe, and I'm pretty sure we can all agree, that there needs to be more awareness about the Nikkah-nama and what the clauses entail. There needs to be more education about women's rights. All rights and obligations cannot be outlined in the Nikkah-nama because it's not an exhaustive document, right? That would be very, very, very difficult. As evidence, it can only go so far in the court of law. What we really should be focusing on is better laws for women in these countries, and not just in Muslim countries, but even in Muslim courts in non-Muslim countries, to have systems in place that protect women and even children and other minorities from all kinds of abuse, a legislation that provides safeguards for minorities in case anything goes south. So take it with a grain of salt, but it's very important that you know. It's very important that you also educate those around you. I highly recommend that you guys do your own research. That's what I always say. Every time I'm presenting something that I'm not an expert in, which is a lot of things that I talk about. I highly recommend that you do your own research, seek out professionals in that particular category. I'm not a lawyer, not any religious authority, but I do know this. And I wanted to share what I knew so that now you guys know, so that you can make better decisions or you can be more informed. So that is all the information that I know that I wanted to talk about today. That is all the information that I could find. Let me know in the comments down below if I forgot anything or if I missed anything or if there was any error in this information whatsoever. If you would like to add something, if you guys have any supportive links, any donation links. I always link donations in my videos in the description box, just FYI. If you know any other organization, any other cause that needs supporting, I always welcome you to leave it in the comments down below, especially if it's something related to this topic. Leave it down below. I want to thank you so much for watching this. I always say that. All the support, all the encouragement, it does not go in vain. I urge you to share this video with everybody who you think might find this helpful, because this is something that I just wish like all Muslim women knew. Unfortunately, they don't. I mean, I wish all Muslim women were educated about our rights. But let's be real, there are Muslim women who don't even get basic education. Being educated about their rights is like completely out of the question. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what videos you want to see next. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Come say hi on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter and TikTok. If you're not already from TikTok, apna khayal rakhiyega. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.